Welcome to the deep dive.
Hey there.
Today, we're digging into a really interesting set of sources about 5 distinct regions in Japan. We've got Kanagawa, Nagano, Okayama, Tochigi, and Tottori.
Yeah, we've gathered research notes on, well, pretty much everything: culture, history, food, traditions, music, even specific dialect words. And there are also these song lyrics created for each place,
Right.
which is pretty cool.
Right, so the mission for this deep dive is basically to pull out the key stuff, the hidden details, the surprising connections, the things that really make each prefecture tick.
From like bustling ports to these quiet mountain temples or sandy dunes or places famous for peaches.
Exactly. What does all this detail tell us about regional identity? How does it all sort of come together?
How do they express that unique character? Let's get into it.
Okay, let's do it. So starting with Kanagawa, right on the coast, looking at the sources, the first thing that jumps out is this layering. All these different historical vibes stacked up.
Absolutely. It's got this push and pull between its really ancient past and its role connecting Japan to, well, the rest of the world.
You mean like Kamakura versus Yokohama?
Exactly. Got Kamakura, Japan's first shogunate, way back in 1192. So much samurai history there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, boom, the 1854 Treaty of Kanagawa happens. Yokohama opens up, and it becomes this huge international port. Very different energy.
And that creates this like cultural fusion, right? You see it in the art, obviously, Hokusai's Great Wave off Kanagawa, that's iconic.
The power of the coast, yeah.
But then you also have modern festivals living alongside ancient stuff, like Bonodori dances on the beach in Kamakura.
Yeah. And the Hiratsuka Tanabata Festival with all those amazing streamers celebrating the star-crossed lovers. It's vibrant.
The food seems to tell that story, too. You mentioned simple coastal stuff like shirasudan, the white bait bowl.
Super fresh. But then, because of the naval base in Yokosuka, you get Yokosuka Navy curry. Totally different origin story.
Right. And castella cake from the Portuguese traders.
It's all woven together.
So it feels like a place where tradition and modernity, Japanese roots and international vibes, they just constantly mix.
Yeah, the sources mention traditional kimono culture is still around, but it sits right alongside modern fashion, especially with Yokohama being so cosmopolitan.
Even nature does it. Classic cherry blossoms, but also the blue bottle butterfly. Didn't expect that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the landmarks really drive it home. You've got the Great Buddha in Kamakura, Odawara Castle, ancient history, then Hakone with the hot springs, art, Fuji views. But then you have Yokohama, second biggest city, modern skyline, Chinatown, the red brick warehouses, telling that port story.
It's a lot packed into one place, even the language you said, like old dialect words and modern slang.
Yeah, exactly. You've got local words like uchuru for throwaway or opesu for push.
Okay.
But then kids are also using pien for sad or kusa for funny, just like everywhere else online. It lives in both worlds.
And that fusion comes through in the music scene too, it seems. Lots of different bands started there.
Oh, yeah. Southern All-Stars, Ikimoto Dakari, Lunacy, even the reggae band Shunan no Kaz. Really diverse sounds.
So the song for Kanagawa had to capture all that, this layered kind of blended thing.
Totally. The style is described as like dreamy electro jazz pop, city pop, conscious pop, but with traditional Japanese folk bits and even a little reggae feel underneath.
Wow. How does that even work instrumentally?
Well, it uses things like shamisen next to electric piano and Rhodes, reggae bass, synths, taiko drums. It's a mix. The tempo is meant to feel like a Bonodori sway or maybe walking by the harbor at dusk.
And the lyrics, they pull in these different elements.
Definitely. You get images like steam paints the sky in Ikone's light right next to jazz echoes through the red brick night. Or samurai shadows whisper dusk. It connects the food too, like a curry spell, a castella glow.
Yeah.
And yeah, even the slang. Payan fades as I rise above.
It really sounds like that cultural fusion the sources talked about.
Yeah.
Drawing on its past, but totally open to the world.
That sums it up well.
Okay, so leaving the coast, let's head inland. Big shift, Nagano.
Right, Nagano.
Yeah.
Totally different vibe. Mountains, serenity, and this deep spiritual feeling.
That comes through really strongly. Its identity feels shaped by the mountains and also being this center for pilgrimage. Zenkoji Temple, right?
Absolutely central. A major Buddhist site, drawing people for centuries. That spiritual connection is key.
And you feel that connection to the past and the land and the traditions, too. Like the Inasumugi silk weaving.
Beautiful stuff, yeah. An ancient craft from the Ina Valley. And you can still walk bits of the old Nakasendo Trail through preserved post towns like Sumago and Narai. Feels like stepping back in time.
History here seems less about, like, global ports opening up and more about these enduring places and moments within the mountains. Matsumoto Castle, for instance.
Stunning castle. One of the best historical ones, really shows that feudal past.
Hmm.
And of course, Nagano had the '98 Winter Olympics. Put it on the map internationally for a bit for its winter side.
The traditions feel very tied to nature and community effort. That Onbashira festival,
Yeah.
every 6 years.
Oh, that's incredible. Hauling those massive logs down mountains. It's a huge test of faith and everyone working together.
Wow. And simpler things, too, like the Chestnut Festival in Obuse,
Yeah.
tied to the harvest.
Yeah, and the food reflects that inland agricultural setting.
Yeah.
Shinshu soba, the buckwheat noodles, that's classic Nagano.
Love soba.
Oyaki dumplings, too, steamed or grilled.
Hmm.
Hearty stuff. And nozawanazuke, those pickled greens. Very characteristic flavor.
And nature's just defining. The rock ptarmigan is the bird, right?
Yeah.
That's up high.
Yeah. And obviously, the snow monkeys, the Japanese macaques bathing in the hot springs at Jigokudani. That's such a unique image for Nagano.
It really is. It feels like that quiet strength, that connection to nature maybe influences the people from there, too. Like
Yeah.
Joe Hisaishi, the Ghibli composer.
Could be. His music has that evocative quality. And Nagano, the illustrator behind Chikawa, those characters often have a contemplative feel, too.
Even the dialect sounds, well, grounded. Nagano Ben, you mentioned Katarani.
Yeah, like for satisfaction after a good meal or something. Or isogu for hurry.
Yeah.
It fits the rhythm of life there, maybe.
The music from Nagano seems to reflect that atmosphere as well.
Yeah, bands like Glim Spanky and Piro. And historically, Sumako Matsui, a pioneering actress and singer.
So the song style for Nagano, it leans into that ethereal feeling.
Definitely. It's described as Japanese ethereal folk electronica. It uses traditional Minyo folk ideas, ambient sounds, even bits of Shinto ceremonial rhythm.
Instruments.
Koto, shinobu flute, but also strings, analog synths. The taiko drums are low and slow. There are wind samples, and the vocals are almost ASMR-like. Very spiritual, reflective.
You can almost hear the quiet in that description, and the lyrics capture it.
I think so. Lines like, the bell of Zenkoji rings through morning mist, or old stories rest in moss kissed by dew. The stone path of Kiso speaks in silence. Lots about nature, too. The wind teaches without a word, steam from monkey breath, and that feeling of contentment. Katarani na, see you laugh. This silence reflects all things.
It paints a picture of a place where the land and spirit are really woven together. Resilient, quiet, profound.
Yeah, that feels right.
Okay, so from the serene mountains, let's head south to Okayama, the land of sunshine. Feels like a big energy shift again.
Huge shift. Okayama feels bright, confident, and yeah, totally connected to that folktale.
Momotaro, the Peach Boy. It seems like that legend is everywhere there.
It really is. They've completely embraced it. But there's also this deep-rooted identity in crafts like beads and wire ceramics. That stuff is ancient, over 1,000 years old. There's a confidence in that heritage.
Historically, it wasn't just about peaches, but also learning. Shizutani School, oldest public school.
Yeah, founded way back in 1670.
Yeah.
Shows a long value placed on education. And Okayama Castle, the Crow Castle, is pretty imposing too.
And the festivals sound intense. The Hadaka Matsuri, the Naked Festival.
Yeah, famously vigorous. Thousands of guys competing. And the Iraja Festival is literally based on the ogre from the Momotaro story. They're celebrating beating demons.
They're really living the legend. And the food plays into it too, with the kibadango dumplings Momotaro used.
The symbol, yeah. But also great local stuff like barazushi, that scattered sushi, and kakioko okonomiyaki with oysters, a mix of the iconic and the local bounty.
Okayama's also big in fashion. Japanese denim.
Yeah, the Kojima District,
Yeah.
birthplace of Japanese denim, known worldwide for quality. Modern cool meets traditional craft.
And of course, the peaches. That's central to the image, right? Juicy white peaches, peach blossoms.
Absolutely. Can't talk Okayama without peaches, and red pines are the prefectural tree.
And in pop culture, it's pretty big too. The creator of Naruto, Masashi Kishimoto.
Yeah. And musicians like Fujikaze, who's huge right now with that soulful sound, and Koshi Inaba from Biza's powerful voices.
That makes sense given the song style they created for Okayama. Funk-infused pop, neo-folk grit. Sounds lively.
Totally. It's got a 70s funk groove, traditional Minyo chanting, even some marching band brass and anime soundtrack vibes.
Wow, what instruments?
Slap bass, wah guitar, right next to koto and shamisen. The vocals are described as talk sing. Kind of cocky. It's meant to bounce, like a peach rolling downhill.
Ha! Love that. And the lyrics sound confident
I think
too.
it's super playful. A peach cracked open surprise, it's me. Or, got demons to beat, that's light work, baby. Really leaning into Momotaro with modern swagger. Connects to history, too.
That sleek black castle scraping the sky, courage in loincloths, the festival blares, and tons of regional pride. It's the Peach Revolution, let's start the show. Even Demons groove to our Okayama beat. Finishes with, this is the anthem of Okayama and me.
Sounds like a place that really knows who it is and isn't afraid to shout about it. Very different from Nagano.
Completely.
Okay, let's travel northeast now to Tochigi. Here the feeling seems more about spiritual gateways and natural beauty, especially wisteria. Nikkoku is definitely the heart of that. The UNESCO World Heritage Site there with Tushuku Shrine, it's just breathtakingly ornate, a major spiritual and artistic center.
And it's not just the shrines, right? Lots of onsen, hot spring.
Over 600. Yeah, so that culture of purification, relaxation, it's really strong there too.
Historically, it goes way back. Shimatsuga domain.
Late 7th century, yeah. And it also has Ashikaga Gaku, considered Japan's oldest university, reestablished in the 15th century. So deep roots in spirituality and learning.
And the traditions seem linked to those centers. The Nikka-Yoi Festival with floats.
Traces back centuries. And the Mashiko Pottery Festival, celebrating that local craft tradition.
The food sounds like an interesting mix. Utsunomiya is the gyoza capital.
Famously so.
Right.
Modern favorite. But then you have yuba, the soybean skin, which is super traditional, tied to Buddhist cuisine.
Oh, okay.
And also high-quality Tochigi Wagyu beef. So it covers a range.
And the nature sounds incredible. Ashikaga Flower Park and the wisteria, people rave about that.
It's world famous for a reason. Absolutely stunning displays, apparently. That natural beauty feels really tied into the whole spiritual vibe of Tochigi.
Even the famous people from there, like jazz musician Sadao Watanabe, feel kind of refined, expressive.
Yeah, it fits the overall picture. The Tochigi-ben dialect is part of that East Kando group, shared with places like Fukushima. Adds local flavor.
So the song style for Tochigi, neo-soul jazz fusion, wistful folk, sounds calming.
Very. Ambient lo-fi jazz, traditional folk whispers, down-tempo electronic, trip-hop elements.
What kind of instruments create that sound?
Rhodes piano, shakuhachi flute, acoustic strings like koto or shamisen, brush drums, synth pads. It even uses things like vinyl crackle sounds and wind samples. Vocals are wispy, melodic. Think wisteria-hued jazz chords.
Wisteria-hued jazz chord. I like that. And the lyrics capture that feeling.
I think they do. Morning in Nikub, mist drifting slow. A breeze crosses the red bridge, tender and low. The bells at Tushugu echo in my chest. Lots about the landscape and that spiritual feeling. In warm spring waters, my heart melts down. The scent of flowers, the song of the past.
And that quiet acceptance.
Yeah, this town wraps them all, quiets my fears. And the wisteria is central. Under falling wisteria's violet plume.
It sounds like a place where nature, spirit, history, they all create this really serene but deep identity.
That feels like a good summary.
Okay, one more. Let's head over to Tottori. This one seems almost defined by one thing, the sand dunes.
The Tottori sand dunes are definitely iconic, yeah. Japan's largest. It's a striking, kind of unexpected landscape right on the coast.
And that landscape seems to breed this real connection to folk traditions and maybe resilience.
I think so. You have the Kirinjichi lion dance for good fortune, a really unique local performance art, and strong folk craft traditions, wood, ceramics, metalwork.
History there sounds tough sometimes. The siege of Tottori Castle, the big earthquake in 1943.
Yeah, those events definitely shape the identity. There's a sense of perseverance, of enduring.
You see that in the festivals, maybe. The Shan Festival with the bell umbrellas.
Right, creating that beautiful sound. And the Hato Festival, too, celebrating local culture. It feels like holding on to traditions.
The food sounds interesting, drawing from the sea and land. Matsuba crab is a big deal.
Huge winter delicacy, yeah. And Gyokotsu ramen beef bone broth, that's pretty unique. And Itaki, that home-style dish of rice and veg and fried tofu, comfort food.
Even the cluing has local craft connections, like the resist-dyed textiles.
Yumi hamagasuri, yeah.
Yeah.
And Koryoshi kimono using local cloth. It's all connected.
And Tottori's produced some major manga artists, Mizuki Shigeru of Gejeji no Kitaru.
And Gosho Ayama, creator of Detective Conan.
Wow. That connection to storytelling, especially yokai stories, feels kind of fitting for a place with such a dramatic landscape.
Doesn't it? And the dialect Inshu has great words like goshinai for please, and dondorok, the sound of stir-frying tofu, which is also a dish name.
Huh. Love that. Language and food right there.
Exactly.
The music reflects that grounded folk feel.
Seems so. Kenji Sawada, Asami Shimoda. The song style is described as neo-traditional folk rock, ethereal desert ambient, soulful minyo pop fusion, bit of mouthful,
Sounds complex.
but grounded. Traditional acoustic heartfelt rhythm, uses acoustic shamisen, folk guitar, traditional percussion, those umbrella bells from the festival, ambient sounds, wind effects to suggest the dunes, often lo-fi female vocals. Kind of mysterious, maybe.
And the lyrics evoke the dunes and that
Yeah,
resilience.
very much. The wind from the dunes whispers low, carrying forgotten dreams. Connection to simple things, feels as scallion blossoms sway, children's laughter.
Mm-hmm.
History's there too. Shadows of Jinpukaku hum an ancient beat. And that resilience. We bury quake memories in shifting sands. Festival drums heal with gentle hands.
And the manga creators get a nod.
Yep, Gitaru and Conan, beneath the same skies. It ends with this sense of enduring spirit. Totori's spirit lives on in you and me.
Feels like a place really shaped by its unique, maybe challenging landscape, but finding strength in tradition and community.
That's a great way to put it.
So, okay, stepping back from these 5 places, Kanagawa, Nagano, Okayama, Tochigi, Tottori, looking at them together, what does this deep dive tell us about regional identity in Japan?
Well, geography is huge, obviously, whether you're coastal like Kanagawa, mountainous like Nagano, or have something unique like Totori's dunes.
Hmm.
It fundamentally shapes everything.
Right. It's not just scenery. It influences history, food, traditions.
Yep.
Kanagawa's port meant global interaction. Nagano's mountains maybe fostered more introspection. Totori's dunes required resilience.
Exactly. And history isn't just in books. It's alive in festivals, in landmarks, even in like the Navy curry or the Momotaro dumplings.
Mhm.
You feel the shogunate in Kanagawa, the spirituality in Tochigi, the folk tale in Okayama, the challenges in Totori. It's present.
Identity comes through the senses, too, doesn't it? The taste of the food, whitebait, soba, peaches, gyoza.
The feel of the crafts, the ceramics, the silk, the denim, the sights, the skylines, castles, canals, shrines, dunes.
And the sound, that really struck me. The music styles felt so distinct, like they really captured the essence of each place.
Yeah, the Okayama funk feels like sunshine. The Nagano folk feels like mountain mist. Tochigi's jazz feels like wisteria. Totori's rock feels like the resilient dunes. Kanagawa's mix feels like the layered city.
The music isn't just from there. It kind of is the place, in a way.
It seems like regional identity is this, I don't know, this rich weave of all these threads, right? The land, the history, the daily life, the food, the crafts, and that intangible spirit in the language and music,
Each part reinforcing the others.
making something bigger than just the individual pieces.
And these specific examples we've looked at, they make that complex idea feel really concrete. You can almost taste the peaches or hear the shan bells.
Yeah, it makes you think about places you know well.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we've taken this deep dive into the unique worlds of Kanagawa, Nagano, Okayama, Tochigi, and Totori.
We've seen how history, culture, food, landscape, sound, how it all weaves together to tell a story about what makes each place unique.
So here's something to think about for you listening. If every place has its own kind of song, shaped by its own mix of history, people, landscape, traditions, what does the song of your own place sound like?